So there's an old saying that for a train to be free, it needs to be on its tracks. And I think that holds true for pension planning as well, really. If you don't have a plan, there's a good chance that you're not really going to roll into retirement in a good state, really. So I was having to think about one specific area of pension planning that I need to think more about, and that's really relating to how I'll withdraw my pension. So I have quite a lot of my pension is DC, so direct contributions. That means it's not going to turn up in a check from a third party once a month and not be like a fixed income. It will be an amount in a bank that I'll just keep needing to draw down each month. So I need to decide how I'm going to draw that down. So these charts here demonstrate 3 ways I've been thinking about how I handle that drawdown. So let's have a look at the first one, the red chart here, and this is fixed drawdown. So I can imagine if I had taken my defined contributions elements of my pension and bought an annuity. So I took, say there was a series of numbers, £100,000 there, and I bought an annuity. The pension provider said that we're going to give you £300 a month till you die for this. Then that would work, wouldn't it? In terms of a fixed income, and the amount I'd be taking out of the pension wouldn't be decided by me. It would be part of the annuity that I'd bought, and that would be set for me. Now, I suppose anyone who doesn't have a huge amount of discretionary benefits, so basically the pension will be meeting their living costs, and their living costs are not expected to change dramatically. You're not moving house, you're not downsizing, you're not upsizing, you're not paying for children to go to university, anything like that. Your income will be fixed then, as long as that contribution increases with inflation each year, then that'll kind of make sense, really. And from the day you start receiving that pension until the day you pass away, then that pension will be fairly static, just going up with inflation. So that's the first graph there. The next one is the reducing withdrawals. So if I am a person who has quite a lot of discretionary spend, so I work out that my costs for housing and all the other costs, food, electricity, that say worked out at £1,000 a month freeze, but I had £5,000 a month, then this model might work more for me in that at the beginning, say when I'm 57, when I retire, I'll be expecting to travel a lot. So I'll be taking a lot of flights. I'll be maybe undertaking a lot of different types of sports that cost quite a bit of money. Then I can imagine that at the start of me withdrawing the pension, the amount I'm going to be taking is really high. But then as I get a little bit older, I probably travel a little bit less and undertake less sporting activities, and therefore as I go into my 70s and then into my 80s, I can imagine there'll be a gradual decline in the amount that I will spend each month. Therefore, that's why that chart goes from a high level to a low level. Okay. And then the final chart, the green chart here, then that is really focused on people who are planning for care. So they maybe will travel a lot at the beginning of their retirement. Then as they get a bit older, they'll travel a bit less, undertake a few less sports and hobbies, therefore the amount will drop. But then they know as they get into their 80s, 90s that, they might need some home help type support, or they may need some care costs, or eventually even go into nursing. So that kind of a withdrawal plan says that during the beginning we'll be taking quite a lot out. During the middle years there, maybe in our later 70s, then we won't be spending as much. But then as we get into our 80s, 90s, then we expect that our expenditure will go up because we'll be getting home helps or care in. Okay, so there are 3 different ways of looking down your drawdown. But as I said at the beginning, you know, for a train to be free, it needs to be on its tracks. And I think whichever one of these most suits you, it's important that you do have a think about it, really. And I know I'm still thinking about it. And I did a video the other day, which I'll attach to the end of this video, talking about my view on the green chart, managing your care and planning for care, really. And I've decided in that video that I'm not going to do that. And I won't talk about that now. I'll let you watch that video if you're interested as to why I've chosen not to particularly save for my care.
So when I'm calculating how much I'm going to need in retirement, should I account for nursing home fees in later life? Well, I suppose to make an accurate prediction on that, I would need to know two things. A, when I'm going to die. B, where I'm going to die. And frankly, if that information was available, I really wouldn't want to know it anyway. But there's some rough numbers out there which are quite useful. So I know that 1 in 5 of us will need to go into a care home. So that means 4 or 5 of us won't. We'll never need that. Just under half of us will actually die at home. So we won't need care home fees. About 25% of us will die in hospital, which is covered by the NHS at the moment. And if I do want to make provision for a care home, then I'm going to need, at the moment, it's around just over £60,000 per year if I want full choice on where I go, and that's an average as well. So that's really 80% chance that I'll never need to go into care. If I do go into care and I want some choice, I'm going to need to, for just the care home fees, without things like, gifts for grandchildren or expenditure for myself, I'm going to need just over £60,000. I'm thinking for my personal circumstances, I'm probably not going to factor it in. Now, that'll be different for you. But for me, I think I prefer to spend, when I'm looking at withdrawals of my pension, I prefer to spend more in early retirement. So if I retire at 57, I'm expecting to spend more per year between like 57 and 67 than I will at 67 to 77. And then I'm expecting to spend even less between 77 and 87. So in other words, I'm not going to start accounting that, between 77 and 87, I'm probably going to need care home fees. I'm just not going to plan for that, really. Because as I say, 80% of us won't have to plan for it. And particularly for me, I'm not sure I'd want to spend or take the opportunity cost of spending £60,000 a year in later life to have some choice around care home, because what I've seen in the care home sector is the state provision care homes is not massively worse than having choice and being able to pick your own care home. And that's for me, but for different people, you'll have different thoughts on that.